Hello friends, my name is Kara Brown. Welcome to my channel where I talk about books, writing, I whine about it, sometimes under the influence of wine, and occasionally you pop in and I've got a video where I talk about tarot cards. So here's the deal. I am under a tarot buying ban because I presently have way too many decks, and my spouse has very kindly requested that if I want to buy more decks, I should do something with the ones that I have, and so I'm doing reviews of the decks that I have so that way I can go ahead and buy more. I have an addiction, I admit it, but I'm okay with this one. This one's fine. This video is going to be a little bit different because I am doing a review of the Light Vision Tarot deck that literally just came out last week. I did a pre-order for the 3rd edition because it's been re-released out into the wild, and I was very curious about it when I saw the artwork, and so I got that. So you're going to see me kind of unbox it and a little bit of my initial reactions, and then you're going to come back and see my face where I talk about it a little bit more collectively because I got a little bit like, ooh, shiny when I was playing with the cards. So can't help it. I got excited. Tarot makes me happy. So I'm going to go ahead and let past me get all excited about opening the box, and you get to see my initial reactions, and I'll come back and do my overall review, and we'll move on from there. Hi, my name is Kara Brown. I'm an urban fantasy author, and I'm here today to actually do an unboxing for a recently released tarot deck. This deck is new. I did buy it, so it's not PR or anything, and I was really intrigued with it when I saw that it was out for pre-order, and if you guys know anything about me, I have a tarot card buying problem, and I decided to go ahead and open it, and I'll just go ahead and give you guys my first impressions. A fun fact, I don't open boxes very well. Oh, it does come with like a little cute thank you card thing. That is actually that's super cute. I really like that. Oh, I love it when people send thank you things. Okay, so there is a little card container bag for this, which is good because I really didn't want to have to go buy another one. I know that this deck is a little bigger than the other ones that I have, so okay, so you're gonna put them in like that and wrap it around. That is doable. Alright, so totally buying bags makes my life easier. Pre-order, hashtag worth it at this point. Hey baby, what's going on? You want to smell it? It's a deck, yeah. I'll tell you what though, the gold foil on this box, very nice. So it comes in a box already. So it comes in a box and it came with a bag. Now let me go ahead and see if I can open this sucker up. This is not for Boneses. No, nope, not for you. I like how this box is like matching my shirt today. It's very telling. Alright, so I'm gonna open the box. Oh, it's a flip open too. Oh, that is handy. Yeah, you really don't need a bag. Alright, first impressions. It's got a matte finish. The cards feel pretty firm. Okay, they are a little flexible. My only issue with a matte finish is that it makes shuffling them really hard, so you won't be able to do a riffle shuffle. You'll have to do an overhand shuffle. So let's take a look at the cards. I really like this kind of semi-scratchboard look. Hold on, I put the camera up here, that's my problem. Do you guys see that? I'm really digging the semi-scratchboard look a lot. This comes in two different versions. There's a color one and then there's this one, and I really wanted to check out this one because it was very intriguing. Yeah, again, I'm feeling it again. Yeah, if you want to get this deck and it's got the matte finish, you're going to have to do the overhand shuffle. The imagery on this is actually like, it doesn't follow the traditional poses at all, and it doesn't have a lot of the traditional symbolism. It's actually kind of, it's a little darker than that. So he says that there's an extra card. Where is it? Okay, so he has an extra card in here called the Alcahest, if I'm saying it right, and y'all know I can't pronounce anything. And I don't know the meaning for the card just yet, but if you give me a second, I just wanted to show it to you, and then I'll read it to you from the book that he's got, the companion book. Okay, so the Alcahest, if I'm saying it right, and it has a question mark instead of a number assigned to it. So various glass bottles sit arranged on the dusty wooden shelf, and an image of a cosmos is tacked to the wall. The bottles are mesmerizing, and each seemingly to catch the light in a different way, but none like the one in the center of your vision. Among the old alchemists, alkahest was once known as a universal solvent, something that would dissolve even gold, the solution to all solutions. But know that if you open the bottle, there could be no going back. It could be very well dissolve everything. You are in life-changing moments. Step back and assess what you have around you, unleashing what is inside. For a complete cleansing may be what you need in the moment, or the very well wash out the true beauty of what you see cluttered. Not everything needs to be perfect. Huh. Oh, and I'm a dumbass because it's actually the thank you card that he sent as well. Okay, I'm here. I can pay attention. So it's not a secret that I usually have frowny face when people add or take out cards or rename cards completely from tarot. But I think I think it actually works for the theme of this deck. Normally I'm like, maybe not, but now I'm kind of like, maybe so. Okay, so we're doing a quick time skip because what ended up happening after I finished doing the unboxing is I got really engrossed with looking at the cards and playing with them. And then I kind of gave you guys my initial response to it, but then the problem that happened after that was that there were details that I missed in the cards that I figured out after the fact. So we're going to go ahead and pick up from this point, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more. So first pro of this deck is that it comes with its own container. I am really big on this because if there's anything that you guys know that I struggle with, it's finding the appropriate bag sizes for decks. So the fact that this comes with a container is really good. The other thing is that it does come with a companion book, and the companion book fits right inside the container. Gotta say, absolutely love that. That's great. If we want to talk about the aesthetic of the box itself, very, very pretty. I absolutely love the purple and gold theme that's going on here. And not only that, but like the inside of the box is also decorated as well. It's got a little signature in there from the artist. Granted, it's print, but it still looks really good. Like, the amount of presentation that is involved with this is absolutely outstanding so far. Usually I just get like something in a simple box and it's all plastic wrapped and everything else. But that's really good. Now, let's go ahead and talk about these cards. So let's talk about card quality before I start talking about the art and everything else like that. Cards are very sturdy. I always like a good sturdy card, but they are very thick and they are very sturdy. And the only reason I'm pointing that out is because you will not be able to riffle shuffle these. You won't be able to do with these. Very, very hard to do. I did do a little quick test to see just how impossible it was, and I ended up accidentally scuffing one of the ends of the cards already, so don't do that if you decide to get this deck. Like, preserve your cards, don't do that. The other thing that is a Caro pet peeve, I don't know if it's a pet peeve, it's just these are things that I know. But these cards have a matte finish on them, and while it is really good, while it feels very nice and it looks very nice, one of the issues is that it does have a little bit of a drag when it comes to having to actually shuffle the cards. Most cards don't have that. They have like kind of like a semi-gloss finish, or they have a plain card finish, so you can like shuffle them really quickly. Won't be able to do that with these, which also makes it impossible to do any kind of riffle shuffling if you are the stubborn person that wants to try and riffle shuffle, because as soon as you do that, you're going to be sitting there pushing like a bunch of rocks together. But those are the only cons with the cards themselves. I actually prefer the very sturdy cards, and I do like the matte finish, and I don't mind doing the overhand shuffle. That's fine. Just make sure that when you talk to your clients and you let them shuffle the cards, that you tell them that that's how they need to shuffle them for the reasons that I'm telling you. I am pretty confident, just based on a hunch, that if you let them do like the table shuffle method, that you're gonna have a bad time, because these edges here are the edges are not smooth, and they are, like I said, the card is very thick, so these cards are going to catch on each other when you try to do the shuffle, and you're not gonna like that either. So I'm just letting y'all know ahead of time that that's probably what's gonna end up happening if you do that. So do overhand shuffle, let them do it for 10 minutes if that's what they need to do, but yeah, don't let them do a riffle shuffle. Oh no, I've already mixed these up. Darn it. So, gonna talk about the cards real quick. We'll start with the majors, major arcana. I usually just call them majors. The majors do not have the typical symbology or icons inside of the cards. They're all very different. And a good example right here is going to be the magician. So usually the magician is seen at an altar. He's got all of the different court symbols with him, and you can see one hand pointed up and one pointing down, showing that he's connected with all the elements and all this other stuff. But in this card, what we see is a mysterious man kind of puppeteering somebody in his hand. It gives the impression of somebody who is manipulative, which for the card to be inverse, that's the correct meaning actually. But the interesting thing is that even though that is the depiction of the card, the book does have the traditional definition that is inside of it. So there's that. In my initial reactions when I was first looking at this deck, the very first thing I said when I was looking at the majors is that these cards make me just a little bit anxious. And I don't know how to explain, like, not anxious in like in a bad way, but it's like I can look at the art and I can almost tell what the artist was feeling when he was making these cards. And that speaks a lot to the talent of the artists themselves to be able to convey all of that. So, but once I started using them, I was pretty okay after that. Now, the one interesting thing is that is that this artist or this group has added in another card, and it's called the Alkahest. And the book says that you can take this card out if you want. I have mixed thoughts when people either put in cards or take certain cards out or rename very fundamental cards because they don't like the meaning of it. There's one deck I have, and instead of Judgment, they renamed it to Lust and completely changed the meaning of it. So, you know, it's just tiny things like that. But I don't know, like I did a reading, and actually the first card that showed up was this card, even though I had like completely shuffled everything so that it was all mixed up. So I took that kind of like as a subtle sign that was meant to be in there. Now, I do want to talk about the minors a little bit because I really like what they did with the minors. So the really nice thing that I like about all the different suits in this deck with the way that they did it is that it looks like it's telling a story from one end to the other, and all the pictures are actually connected, which I was really engaged with. Like, you can put all the quartz out and it looks like it's just a very long picture. You can definitely see that with the higher royalty in the suits, but you can see it with all the other ones too. And I thought that that was just very, very, I like that. I really like that idea a lot. I thought that was really good. The symbology in these is also really on point. So unlike the majors, which I don't know what's really happening there, the minors are pretty on par with what they need to look like. And I thought that that was just really good. Like, I really like it. You know, you got your Ten of Cups, which usually represents like all the good stuff and families and things like that. The Four of Pentacles I showed you showed a guy that was greedy with his stuff. The quartz do get a little crazy. You know, for example, here's the Queen of Wands. And you can see some of the depictions that usually show up in that. Not all of them. But normally, like, I'm a pretty big stickler for sticking with the traditional imagery. But this is going to be probably like the first deck where I'm looking at it. I'm like, you know what? It's okay like this. It's totally fine. So for me, I think the giant appeal of the art in this deck is that it has a very like scratch board feel to it. You know, it looks like somebody, you know, got a scratch board and they went ahead and they sketched in all the imagery. Like, I'm a pretty big fan of sketchboarding. Like, I used to do it a lot when I started college. I still kind of do it. It's just not with the same, you know, fever as before. But yeah, no, this is, I really like that. Now, I did get like the uncolored version. So if you guys are individuals who like to have colors, that is an option that you can have. Again, link is going to be down below if you guys want to go check this deck out. Oh man, let's see what else. For whatever reason, there are no inverses that are in here. So because of that, I would not recommend this deck to somebody who is very new to tarot. I would, you know, give them like, you know, one of the traditional decks to practice with, and then once they're comfortable with the meanings, and then I would give them this one, because then they're going to understand the difference between, you know, upright and inverse and things like that. I had a thought and then I lost it, and I thought if I quickly like flip through, I would figure it out. But I lost it. It's gone. But the book does cover a lot of the basics. It does talk about the major elements of the suits. It does talk about how to read the cards. It has several spreads in here that you can use. There are some pages in the back that are blank that you can go ahead and write in if you want. Keep in mind though that this book is not very large, so whatever you decide to write in here, it needs to be like mouse size. And let me see. I really thought I had something that was a good thought. Let's see. They do actually group all the quartz together, thank God. Normally, like, there's always like the books that want to group like the numbers together, and then like, and not the quartz and things like that. And that always drives me nuts. But again, that's a personal preference. Some people like doing it that way. It is not my jam at all. So one thing that the book does say is that I appreciate the honesty in the companion book. Is that it does mention that this is just a very basic guide, and that if you want to really learn more about tarot, you're gonna have to go find other sources. So appreciate the honesty in that, and I can't blame them for not including everything about tarot in this book, because again, it's just supposed to fit inside of this box and still be able to close, right? So you can't expect them to do all that unless you want a really big massive book. That's why you see a lot of the other decks, when they come with a companion book, it's always like that really big box, because the book is just really in depth. Like, let me show you a few. So a lot of the other books when it comes to tarot are going to, like, they're going to be huge, right? They're going to be like, you know, it's a sizable book. You got to go through it. What the book looks like at that point, it's going to depend up to the people. This one has gloss. The pages are gloss, and they're all colored. So this book is very heavy, by the way, because of that. And then you'll have other books that are a little bit larger, but that's going to be because they're focusing on including imagery and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I don't want to say the size of the book shouldn't matter, but I find that the books that are usually a little bit bigger and obviously thicker are going to tell you a lot more about tarot than when it comes to like the ones that come in this size. Now, I'm not trying to knock the book and say that it's not good. Again, I'm going to reiterate that the author of this book did actually come out and say, hey, if you need to find more information, this is really just a primer. You're going to have to go to find other sources. So just kind of keep that in mind if you decide to get this deck, that you're going to have to rely on whatever other references that you may have in the house already, or you're going to have to use websites like BitTorrent or something like that. So major perk of pre-ordering things when you know that they're going to come out is that sometimes you get an extra goodie involved. And the extra goodie that I got with this is I actually got like the little bag for the cards. And I'm a sucker for bags. I absolutely love bags. Love them. Especially like bags that are perfectly sized for tarot cards, which is exactly what this is. And so it's like I've got a container for my container, but I do have that, and I really do like this bag. I'm not sure if I'm actually closing it right or not, but it does protect my cards. I don't have to worry about scuffs too much, and if you're like me and you have like a bajillion cards like on the shelf, this is just going to kind of help protect them a little bit when you're moving your stuff around. You don't have to worry about scuffing the box and all that other stuff. I would definitely feel comfortable putting like this in my bag and going somewhere with it, because I know whatever else I have in the bag, it's not going to scratch anything that's in here, because this I just want to make it clear that this fabric container is really made more for protection than it is for really anything else. So you don't have to worry about your box getting too scuffed up unless it goes through like one of the openings right here. But again, it's just the box, it's not the card, so it's not too bad. Your stuff is protected here, okay? It's protected. One other thing that I do want to mention with this deck that I haven't mentioned yet is that this is a deck that you can actually take out in public. I always want to mention that because there are certain decks that do have graphic imagery in it of some sort or another, and it makes you don't really want to surprise your clients with stuff like that. You kind of want, like, when I go and I see a client, I have two different kinds of deck. I'm like, hey, pick the one that you want to use. No wrong answers, but I always make sure that there are cards that if they are in public with me and a coworker happens to come over and see what they're doing, they're not going to get too embarrassed by what might be on the table. Always got to keep your client comfort level in mind for that. But yeah, imagery in all of these is very appropriate. You don't have to worry about shocking anybody. It may be a little hard to understand when it comes to the major arcana, just because of the way that the artist decided to depict the cards, but practice with these, get to know them a little bit, get comfortable with them, and you should be fine. So the final verdict for the Light Vision Tarot is actually going to be a 10 out of 10. I thought about knocking it a little bit because of the way that the cards were portrayed with the majors, but at the same time, I don't know, like it didn't seem right. It didn't seem right to do that. The imagery still is really good. The companion book is very clear, and if somebody practices with these cards, it will be easier over time. Again, it is not new person friendly, but it is, if you're giving this deck to somebody who's been doing tarot for a little while, or you know that they've been practicing for a bit, they're gonna get it and they're gonna understand how this works. So you should be fine. So yeah, I would just go ahead and give it like a 10 out of 10. If you decide to get this deck, I do want to reiterate be careful with the shuffling things. These cards will scuff, and they, especially on the edges, so you do need to be careful about that. But other than that, that's pretty much the end of the review. This is like the first time that I've gotten a deck right out of the box, and you guys got to see a little bit of like my initial reaction along with my follow-up. So I hope you enjoyed it. I am going to be doing more of these reviews in the future. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 more decks to go through before I'm allowed to buy another deck. So I'm working on that right now. Yeah, that's the thing, because Caro needs more tarot in her life. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, I have lots of decks to still go through before I can start ordering more decks. I'm going to start uploading these on Tuesdays and call them like Tarot Tuesday or something like that. And then maybe when I get done with that, I've been thinking about maybe doing like an in-depth discussion video about each card. If you're interested about that, let me know, because this is something that I do like doing, and I do like sharing things that I like with other people. So anyway, leave that comment down below. But that is going to be me. Thanks so much for coming and hearing what I have to say about this deck, and I will see y'all again real soon.